Just a word to our Prime Minister.
There was someone with a digestive tract problem.
If you don't want to heed to the word of God, you might have a friend come into Ottawa and knock on your door.
I blow the wind of God.
The wind of God.
On you.
I'm just getting into a prophetic vein. I don't make this stuff up.
I know we shouldn't have to scream that we're atheists. You know, we don't have non-astrologers and all that.
Not waiting for them to bring God back to Parliament. We'll do it.
Proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist. Ashamed, I'm an atheist.
Coming to you from beautiful BC and Alligator, Florida, this is Left of the Valley 2.0. My name is Kevin, and did you know they call an elevator a lift in England? That's right, I guess we were raised differently. Joining me as usual, the team that would rather borrow from pessimists because they don't expect it back. Guys, welcome back.
Oh boy, okay.
Hope you guys had a great week. And this show is brought to you by our patrons. You too can become a patron. Go to patreon.com/LATV and you can help Kevin buy some better jokes from the show. All right. So today we'll be talking.
Please do. Please help us.
Please, we need your help.
We need so much help.
I thought we were beyond help.
Kara Griffin in the second half of the show, we'll be talking about trans people. Helen, give us a quick clue as to who Kara is by any chance.
So, Kara and I both volunteer at Recovering from Religion together. They are the online programming director for Recovering from Religion for our podcast. They're also a volunteer with the ACA and has hosted shows like Talk Heathen and Secular Sexuality. They have a bunch of degrees, which I'll read later when I do their bio. Mm-hmm. But they're also non-binary, and I thought they would be a really good guest to talk about the trans experience and non-binary experience, especially in the United States, and what we can do to kind of support those voices and, you know, what that experience is like on a first-hand basis.
Excellent. Well, that'll be in the second half of the show. But first, let's do our usual chit-chat. All right. Oh, I've got some interesting news. Hey, guys. Did you guys ever hear about the former U.S. President Donald Trump? You guys hear the guy?
Who's that again?
Who's that guy?
That's the guy?
Somewhere though.
The Mango Messiah or the
Mango Mussolini
or Mango.
You said
the orange, who that is.
Yeah. The orange face Shake Gibbon.
The Cheeto and cheese.
No, I have to put this episode rated R now because of that.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So
he said that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday in a case that's brought on by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and called on his supporters to protest, according to a post on Truth Social, the social media site on Saturday. So
it's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild. Exactly.
Come on, man. You can't keep doing this. You can't just be like, all right, Army, get out of here. Let's do it. Flip over the cop cars and they try to get me, okay? Let's just do it. You're a cult. Remember that. You're a cult. You're a cult, but not a cult. Okay? You know, don't let people call you that, but you are.
So Trump apparently called the news illegal leaks. I don't know why. What does that mean from the DA's office? What the hell does that mean? An illegal leak?
Statements?
I don't know.
So illegal leak.
Illegal.
There's like a legal leak and an illegal leak somehow. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but nobody knows what he's talking about.
A legal leak is just talking.
Yeah. A legal leak is when the leak hurts a Democrat, and an illegal leak is when hurts a Republican.
Now I got it.
There's a pattern.
I see it now.
Okay.
So I guess Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office earlier this year began presenting evidence to a grand jury investigating a $130,000 U.S. payment that Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal lawyer and fixer, made to porn star Stormy Daniels in the winning days of Trump's 2016 campaign. I guess that's just what the world needs. Trump's being taken down by his mushroom dick. Should Trump be indicted, he would be arrested only if he refused to surrender. Trump's lawyer had previously said he would follow normal procedure, meaning he would likely agree to surrender a New York Police Department precinct or directly to Bragg's office. It's also unlikely that a judge would deny him bail, even though I think that he's a flight risk. And of course, in the news of all that, conservatives are calling it a witch hunt, which is politically motivated. I don't know about you guys, but if you call this a witch hunt, by that matrix, only Republicans would prosecute Republicans, and that would truly undermine that nobody's above the law slogan. So, do you guys have any thoughts on dear old 45 Mussolini there, and probably, hopefully, being arrested?
I'm just sad that we're not going to get to see the perp walk.
I know, right?
But the handcuffs would probably slide off the tiny hands anyways. So
yeah, they have to use that straps. I would love nothing more than Donald Trump chained up to a rusty radiator in his filthy corner somewhere. I would love nothing more to see that.
I just find it like with his supporters, he's like calling for another January 6th, and they want, all the, cult members. I'm sorry, you're all. I am not saying anything controversial. You are all part of the Trump cult. If you're hearing this, anyway,
well, they hit all the check marks of a cult.
Yeah, if it smells like a cult duck, it's a cult duck.
Like
quack quack, hail Satan.
Yeah, basically,
we don't look and sound here. We just smell. Okay, that's how we do it.
We just smell like a cult.
It smells like a cult.
That was unintentionally funny. Anyway, awesome. Like that's my concern is that because these people are have not been swimming in the sanity pool for a little while, and I'm a little concerned that they will lose their shit on if he is. But maybe that's a good thing that it is not going to be.
They live in
televised.
Their own reality.
Yeah,
they definitely live in their own reality. At the same time, though, I don't think the numbers are as high as they were in 2020.
No, I think some of the prosecution for January 6th are actually starting to come down on some of these people and saying, "Oh shit, there's some actual consequences."
Oh my god, I can't hear an insurrection of the government and commit treason. Oh my goodness!
What I mean, if you can't take your weapon and try to hang the vice president, what can you do in freedom country?
So we can't even hang people nowadays. This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
All right. In other news, speaking of the show today, tens of thousands of Canadians are joining a call for the Canadian government to help transgender and non-binary people fearing the outcome of an anti-LGBT legislation that's gaining ground in the United States and other countries. Now, there's a person by the name of Kate Glasson, is an activist in Waterloo, Ontario, launched an online petition to the House of Commons asking for the federal government to extend the rights to claim asylum by reason of eliminationist laws in their own home countries. So laws and bills targeting the LGBTQ rights at the state level in the U.S. have almost reached record numbers in 2023. We've talked about this before. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, is tracking more than 400 anti-LGBT bills across the country right now, including restrictions on accessing gender-affirming healthcare services, criminalizing transgender people's use of public bathrooms, and bans on minors at drag performance. Other bills aim to ban books about sexual orientation and gender diversity in libraries or limit the use of chosen pronouns in school. The ACLU warns years of progress is at risk of being undone. Quote, over the course of the last few years, we have seen a race to the bottom in state houses across the country attempting to restrict transgender people across nearly every area of our life, said Jillian Brandstetter, a communication strategist for the ACLU. So now this petition has gathered over 135,000 signatures so far. Canada has a history of welcoming people from around the world fleeing persecution based on their sexual orientation or gender identity, and that citizens from the U.S. and the UK can claim asylum here. Although there is a high threshold to prove a well-founded fear of persecution, anyone seeking asylum would also have to prove they're facing an imminent risk or cumulative amount of discrimination and cannot seek safety within their own country. So the petition will remain open for signatures until May 26th, after which it will be presented to the House of Commons. The government will have 45 days to respond. Members of the NDP political party and the Green Party have responded favorably to the petition already. So that's very good news for transgender brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I hate to be a Debbie Downer though. Like we have like Christian lobbies and bigots up here also. Like
of course.
Protesting trans people, the showing up at school boards, showing up at gay events. Mm-hmm. They're going to face persecution here too. Unfortunately,
yeah, of course. But I mean, it's kind of interesting that the federal government here seems much more responsive to help the plight of these people that they're facing in the U.S. Right now, a lot of people in the transgender community seem to be fearing that not only this is happening at the state level, but if the next president turns out to be a Republican, let's say Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, then it might also become federal law. So,
luckily, a federal judge, there was a bill presented into Congress that would limit, the Florida Congress, that would limit certain rights for LGBTQ like this. And that got overturned because it was fascist enough, like it was Orwellian. There was the terms like the judge used to prevent rights. So it goes completely against even state law in the state that I'm in, where if it went to Washington, it would probably get shut down. But also too, it just depends on lawyers and how they word things, and gets all kind of gross. So, but at least there's little ticks in the column of, civil rights, and I'm glad that Canada is like, well, we have terrible people, but we're not going to listen to the terrible people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we like, as Troy said, we're bound to see some pushback from the conservative wing of the federal government here. There's bound to be some pushback, but at the same time, I mean, it's nowhere near the kind of persecution that we're seeing in the U.S. I don't see any conservative politician here in Canada starting to lobby the governments to start creating these kind of provincial bills to stop the LGBTQ from having no human rights. So.
And I will say, like, when you do have like alt-right Christian groups here, like pushing anti-trans rhetoric and anti-gay rhetoric and non-acceptance, it's we also get like a lot of public pushback supporting those people. So it's our society in Canada. We're not how can I put it? Like, if someone's being objectified or vilified, usually other people will come and stick up for them, which is a nice thing about being in Canada. But we still have our jerks wherever that and bigots that ruin it for everybody else. So.
But at least, I mean, if we can see the Canadian government actually take that step of actually, giving more rights to the LGBTQ, then, same rights that everybody else has, maybe this will influence the United States in a way, because we are still the biggest trading partner as well. So hopefully there'll be some good side effects to this.
For sure. Excellent. I hope so too.
Excellent. All right, Helen, you got a top 10 for us?
Yes. Excellent. I do. So, because we just
top 10.
Okay, so if you are a Westerner and you like to drink and you like the color green, we just celebrated St. Patrick's Day. But instead of being completely a Western, Irish, and white, I decided to do the top 10. There's technically 11, but I'll do the 10 weirdest alcoholic drinks from around the world. Now, I will admit some of this is a little bit gross, so if you have a sensitive stomach, I do not suggest you listen to this.
Oh man, what am I supposed to do? I'm here.
Just buckle up, motherfucker.
So, the weirdest alcohol drinks. Oh,
okay, number 1, 3 penis liquor.
Oh boy!
Okay.
Here we go.
Right out the gate. Okay.
So this liquor is from China.
I don't even know her.
Great,
So, containing seal penis, deer penis, and Cantonese dog penis.
Oh God!
Yep. Chinese beverage is said to increase male potency and virility. Oh. So drink up, guys.
Wow.
With an alcohol volume of 30%, it's more likely to do the opposite.
Wow.
My penis has the strength of 3 penises now. 3 penis drink.
So what was the name of that drink again? Like
It's called Shang Yi 3 penis liquor. Or don't get. I'm not reading Chinese, man. It's gonna fail hard. Okay.
It's called a bunch of squiggly lines and actually,
it's words that I cannot read because I do not know this, but you can just look it up. You have Google.
I'm surprised the animals you pick for this: a seal, a dog, and what?
A seal penis, deer penis, and a Cantonese dog penis.
I don't see these animals as necessarily very virile in their symbolic.
Deers are
maybe
with
deer.
the horns, yeah, with the horns and everything. You know, I don't know how seals. Like walrus would have made sense.
Cantonese means they're drinking canteens all the time. I mean, hello, that's pretty.
I would have thought to be like tiger penis and bear penis and elephant.
All I know is it's one of those drinks where you tell people what's in it after they drink it.
Right.
Exactly. What did I just drink?
And you thought that just the worm was bad.
It feels like a feminist drink because you could always be like, "Yeah, that's right. I drink penises for dinner." What? Fuck your face, asshole.
I wonder if you drink that, it makes you more fertile to have a boy or something.
With all the penis stuff, you're gonna get pregnant with a boy. That's how that works.
Considering the one-child law in China that they had for the longest time, and the families were trying to get especially male heir, that would not surprise me that they would think that. Right?
Yeah. People believe a lot of weird things. That's why we do this show. Anyway, moving on to seagull wine. So
seagull wine? I thought seagulls were protected.
Well, listen.
No, they're not here. Not here, buddy.
You can't fault the resourcefulness of the Inuit at creating a drop of the good stuff. With a little else around, they invented a homemade recipe you probably wouldn't want to pass down your family tree. 1 dead seagull stuffed into a water bottle and left to ferment in the sun.
A sea duckin or something, or a sea.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't tend to like rats with wings in my alcoholic beverages or any beverage. Like, let me put that out there.
You know, as kids, some guys used to do the most cruel thing in the world with seagulls. They used to go fishing for seagulls. What they would do is they would take some bread and wrap it on a hook and throw it up in the air, and the seagull would catch it, and the hook would grab it in its beak, obviously, and then they would just play the thing around. I know it's absolutely cruel, but I saw that.
That's terrible.
That's brutal.
By the way,
a fellow I know back east, they were deep sea fishing. They figured, let's cover one of the fish scraps with Tabasco. So covered it with Tabasco. Seagull ate it, and I guess the seagull immediately dove right into the water to because it was so spicy. Yeah. He comes back to his boat the next morning, and it's all covered in pink gall crab.
No.
So the seagull got him back.
Asshole. He's like, asshole. Yeah. I do want to preface this that if you look up this list, there are images.
Oh God.
So I get to see those. So I'm gonna give you a warning, or if you're a masochist, please you can look at those too.
It's mostly an audio medium.
So what's next?
Baby mouse wine.
Baby what?
Baby mouse wine.
Mouse wine? Ooh.
Yeah, it's this is a traditional Chinese and Korean health drink. So this is drowning baby mice in rice wine and fermenting it for 1 year.
Oh God!
Yeah.
How does this not kill people? Like,
the vinegar would kill the bacteria, right?
I don't know.
The Black Plague started a bit.
Yeah, I don't. Right. You take a pile of dead mice resting at the massacre isn't because all the dead mice are in the bottom of the bottle. Like you can see the dead mice, which is disturbing and sad. And then, but apparently, I don't know what the health benefits are, but apparently there is some kind of health benefit to drinking fermented dead mice and rice water. It's fucking nasty.
And trichinosis too. Yeah, trichinosis works too.
I won't even drink Bud Light. You don't
Well,
need
Bud
Light.
Light's
That's
great.
what
You're better off drinking your own pee over Bud Light.
Hey, I hear drinking your own pee is great for you. I don't know.
It's
It
great.
cures fucking what? It cures everything. And COVID, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
COVID?
It just add some vodka to the pee, and you're on Helen's top 10 list.
I know. Just add a dead animal. You make the list. Moving on.
Jesus.
Number 4. Okay. Oh boy. Sour toe cocktail.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
It is $2,500 fine for swallowing the toe.
Oh, there's an actual toe in it.
Yeah, it is alcohol and one dehydrated human toe.
An actual human toe.
Who's the
it's
humans?
their own club in the Yukon, and it's ordered to join. You'll need to order any drink and let the bartender drop a toe inside.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's like
You
the hot dog of
Hey,
alcohol.
it's right here in Canada. It's in the Yukon. I've heard about this.
Yeah, and the rule is that you gotta let your lips touch the toe.
Mm-hmm.
Which does this border on cannibalism?
That's a good question.
I was going to say borders on Quentin Tarantinoism. But, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, this sounds like his thing, but I feel like if he went to the Yukon, he'd be like, "Yes, I'm going to have that drink." But it was just a thought. I'm like, this sounds kind of like it would be killable.
I believe if you look that up too, the bar that does that, the toe was actually stolen at one point and never returned. They had to put a new toe in.
Here's that toe for this. Like a black
Who
bucket
decides
toe.
to do these things?
Right?
Hey,
Where are they
Rob.
getting a toe?
Rob, you still have 10
Someone
toes.
stole our toe. Bring in the intern.
Is this some nihilist with green,
Gangrene? Yeah. Like,
Don't eat your toe.
Green
Like,
nail
you
polish.
hate your life. Don't eat your toe.
like, I don't have a foot fetish at all. And this is just taking it to a whole
no.
different level, people.
guys don't
Moving
understand.
on to other gross things.
You guys think you're Yakuza with cutting the fingers. But come to Canada, we cut
So-
your toe and then make you drink it.
This is Poku or Poku. I'm not good with Spanish. So this hails from Mexico. It looks like an innocent glass of milk, but that's where it ends.
That's not
It's
love
made by
custard or
fermenting
something,
the
is it?
milky sap of a maguey plant. And if you can handle the sour yeast-like taste, your only problem, you're convincing Christian why you're bringing milk into a festival. I don't know what the maguey plant is. Yeah, somebody.
Mugwai, isn't that from Gremlins?
I was going to say, you can't get it wet after midnight. And...
A mogwai. A mogwai. I have to look this up now. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Mogwai plant. I don't know if it's... Hold on. I gotta look it up now. It's agave. It's an agave plant. Well, why is that gross? Oh, because it's bitter, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on.
Right, next up.
Tongsol, or also known as feces wine.
Oh, fucking.
I knew it had to go there at some point.
This tastes like shit.
It's not. I got an unfiltered picture of the unfiltered wine. Thank you, Google. Anyway, the South Koreans take the buck for creating the most brow-raising drink on this menu. Tongso was by fermenting a young child's feces for several months.
Oh God!
What?
That's some QAnon crap going on
Right,
right
like
there.
literally, it's already fermented. It's feces. Like this is just how feces works. What?
Apparently, so the reason why they use young children because the poo is apparently more pure.
No.
But they might be trying.
No, so they can harvest the what was that hormone that they really have if you scare them and all that QAnon thing.
To be fair,
if you're applying the word pure to feces, you're not using that word right. That's just not. I don't know where you're getting it wrong, but you're getting it wrong.
How do people discover stuff like that anyway? So holding up a baby without a diaper, it flows chunks. It's like, oh, I got something in my drink. Well, waste not, want not.
Oh, dude, no. But
not bad, actually.
But to be fair, it's also used capable of treating cuts, bruises, and other ailments. So I guess.
Oh, that's great. Spread
So
feces.
listen, you use what you can use.
I guess, yeah.
It also works as a miracle hair tonic.
Yeah.
Shampoo. What do you want?
So gross. And keep in mind, I only skimmed these before I read all of them, and now that I was like, I did not read all this article. Wow.
You sound surprised as you're reading it, so I get it.
So reindeer horn whiskey is number 7.
Well, it almost sounds
I
normal.
think I've had that before. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I think I've had that.
Yeah, it
tastes awful.
So this comes from Thailand, and so they take infusing white rice whiskey with reindeer antlers. It is expensive though. I
remember the person scolding me for complaining about how horrible it tastes because it was so expensive.
Yeah, it's like 110 milliliters is $13. So you combine that with like a whole bottle, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. I don't know. Okay, I want to know why in the Thailands they were looking at reindeer antlers and said, "I need to add that to booze."
Well, chop it up.
Jägermeister. You can get a type of Jägermeister with antler in it too, can't you? Or am I got that confused with another drink?
No. It had all to do with Santa Claus, right? It was Christmas and nothing to drink.
I mean, that's how they used to trip, though. Like ancient Scandinavian people to trip would the reindeer would consume mushrooms, and then they would drink the urine and they would trip balls.
What?
That's one. That's There's one of those things.
Huh. They can just eat the mushrooms, dude. Like those.
Yeah, look up where the Santa myth comes from. With the reindeer and the red and the white.
You just got to look for the mushrooms, the little purple ring on the top.
Yeah, that's how you gotta do.
That album. Yep.
Okay, moving on. Birch sap wine. So as someone that grew up with a birch tree in their yard, I did not consider to make wine out of birch sap, but it's harvested during a 2-week period every year. People have been making syrup and wine from sap for centuries. To harvest, you really have to tap a birch tree and let the sap drip out into the bottle. But they don't mix it with anything. They just drink the sap, which is there's nothing like. Oh no, it's an ingredient. Okay, I read that wrong. I would have to imagine you would mix it with like.
I bought
water.
Birch. I bought birch syrup on vacation, and I'd mix it with whiskey, and that was really good.
Yeah,
so it might not be that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't find this one that weird because as someone that grew up very close to Canada, I'm just like, eh.
Of course, here in Canada, we all grew up with maple syrup and all that. And when I moved to the West Coast, I saw one time this bottle of birch syrup for sale. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Never even thought about that. And I thought, pour that on your pancakes or something like that. No.
Is it really sour?
Oh, yeah. It was really, really bad taste. I thought, I'd be just a different take on maple syrup. No.
The birch syrup I had didn't taste bad. It didn't taste like maple syrup, but it's... I never used it for pancakes. I'd add it in my coffee and alcohol and stuff, but it's...
okay.
But anyway.
All right, moving on.
Interesting.
Okay, bush beer.
Bush beer.
So bush beer.
That's it. We're just done. No, that's it.
Bush beer is
awful.
So
first you get a beer on cocaine, then you get a drunk.
Okay, so this comes from the Cook Islands, and it's basically fermenting things like bananas and oranges. So, which makes sense because people have been doing this for centuries. You take some fruit, you ferment it, and that's how, and you get drunk. It's the rules. Oh. This stems the rules, people.
Like a punch drink. You put it in a bucket, and you get all the fruits, and you go down, and you turn it every so often. I can't remember the name of it.
All I know is that sounds so much more tastier than penis wine.
Oh, so much better, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we lost Helen.
Was that the end of the list?
You're muted.
You're muted, dear.
Helen's turned into a mime.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I meant to switch screens and I hit my microphone. Anyway, so I'm going to end this with, as someone that loves vodka, I'm very sad. This sounds disgusting. Is vodka flavored, bacon flavored vodka?
Bacon flavored vodka.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
Yep. Some people in the United States were like, "Hey, let's make vodka that tastes like bacon." Apparently, they're good in Bloody Marys, though. Which
I would. Yeah,
that would make sense. But I can't like making it
Bloody
like,
Marys
doing a
are-
shooter. But it sounds very American. It sounds very American. Like,
well, wait, no, not yet. It's going to be very American when it was like deep fried vodka or something,
right?
Yeah, deep fried fucking maple. Yeah,
I would actually buy that for cooking, like basting stuff in the bacon vodka and then frying it. It would probably taste really good. But
yeah, it probably would be.
Yeah, like instead of like using like a cooking wine. You know, because
it would be good in like a Caesar, and because they have a dill pickle or a pickle vodka now too, and that's good making your Caesar. So I think the bacon vodka with it would be really good. You get drunk if you.
The lesson here is quit drinking. The lesson here is quit drinking.
No, we will not stop drinking, and I don't have a problem.
We live in the worst timeline, and I'm not going to stop. Okay.
Yeah, this is how twisted we are as a species. When we're looking at, I wonder if I can make alcohol out of 3 penises.
I'm still over the child poo one. Okay,
this is how desperate we are for a drink. Apparently,
I don't. Gross. Okay, can we please move on and talk about something that won't make me vomit? That'd be great.
I really appreciate that. Troy, my friend, you've got something a bit different this week. You're not doing a fantastic myth. You're doing
I'm doing truth, myth, or balderdash. So it's a. I'm going to go over some St. Patrick's, some myths about St. Patrick, and then you guys can tell me if it's truth, myth, or balderdash.
Truth, myth, or balderdash.
All right, I'm in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'll play.
St. Patrick wasn't Irish. He was born in Scotland to Roman parents. In the late 4th century, and his real name was Maewyn Sucat.
True.
Maewyn
Sucat. And
yeah, it sounds too true to be not true.
Yeah, it is,
doesn't it?
It is true.
I knew this, so that's why I was like, true.
Yeah, Post Listing named him Patricius or Patrick when he became a priest. Patricius means father figure. The Pope made Patrick the 2nd bishop of Ireland. The first bishop was Pallidus, who was banished from the Emerald Isles. It also turns out a lot of the myths about Patrick were turned out to be actually about Pallidus, and then when they started making legends about Patrick, they just assigned his legends to Patrick. But either way, question number 2. When Patrick was baptized as a child, a blind man showed up claiming Patrick healed him in a dream. So baby Patrick made the sign of a cross with his little tiny Trump hands. Sorry. And a spring of water came out of the ground. After washing his face with the spring, the blind man could suddenly see.
Oh, that's got to be true. I mean, you got it.
That sounds like science.
You walk by a woman's crib. Do you see the babies do that all the time?
Oh yeah.
Hold up, but was it only in the dream? Was the blind kid just like, still blind, but I had a dream though?
Oh, the blind guy said, like, I had a dream that if I come here, this baby will cure me of my blindness. I don't know how the heck he found the place, but either way.
I'm gonna go with myth.
I'm gonna go with balderdash.
Yeah. No, it is a myth. But
I'm getting good at this game.
Yeah, bringing forth water was a popular theme in Irish folklore, which is probably why the myth got added to Patrick. And also St. Patrick wrote in his confessions that he wasn't even religious as a child.
There we go.
So, but he did come from a very religious family. His father was a deacon. His mother was a descendant of a saint. His grandfather a priest. His sister was titled Mother of Saints because she had 19 children who went into religious life.
19 kids?
That's a lot.
We have a show about.
We don't even go into labor after 10. The kid just walks out.
Yeah. Nowadays she wouldn't be the Mother of Saints. She'd just get a reality TV show. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds about right, though. Irish Catholic and French Catholics and popping out babies. It's
pretty
right. It's pretty right.
Is that what the people in the show are? Because that sounds right? Is that no?
No, they're cripples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. So back to the subject.
Sorry.
Back to the subject of Patrick's baptism. The rock that he was born on became a magical lie detector. So if anybody told a lie while touching it, water would come out.
Obviously,
I thought it would grow. Like, wouldn't it grow like Pinocchio's nose?
Maybe the water comes out in the form of a nose. I don't know. Or maybe the water is just rock snot coming out.
It depends how you touch the rock. If you touch it in a sensual way, the rock will
You got to rub it.
You gotta rub it.
Rub it.
You got to find the right spot.
Okay. So either way, truth, myth, or boulderdash, it's probably not true.
You tell me it's true, because I'm going to find an island right now. That's the case.
I want to go to this rock.
I'm going to go find that rock.
I want the Kiki rock.
Yeah, apparently there is a rock. It's just I couldn't find the proper name for it. But either way, it is a myth. Okay, next up.
Well, hold on. What's the improper name for it? Oh, you didn't... What?
Basically, I read it in a mention, but I couldn't find details of where it is. There is a flat rock that there's another myth of the rock that is baptism called the Flat Rock, which is a place in Ireland, but I can't remember the details.
That one's not as well as the Curvy Rock. The Curvy Rock is really
Curvy Rock's where you want to go. You know,
I thought the lie detector myth was much more fun.
It's
it's
called the 362436 Rock.
Okay, next up. A more recent discovery shows that the Twa Pygmy tribe migrated to Ireland thousands of years ago from Africa. Also known as the snake-headed people, later to be known as leprechauns. St. Patrick launched a genocide driving these early inhabitants from Ireland and history.
True.
Oh, really? If that's true, that's like fascinating. So I'm going to say I'm still going to think it's a myth, but
that's why they like rainbows and gold. So, you know.
Yeah. And the other, okay, it is Boulderdash. This is a bogus.
It sounded terrible enough that I was like, that tracks.
Well, no, you probably heard it before. You probably heard it before. It's a bogus internet conspiracy that's been circulating for about 15 years now, but there's like zero historical evidence to support it.
It's pretty sad that pretty good. Helen's reflex as soon as she heard genocide. Yeah, that's got to be true.
Yeah.
I am a pessimist.
There is a claim that Patrick. Yeah, there is a claim that Patrick killed about 800 druids, but at the same time, even that might be a little bit more myth, and I'll go into why later. But either way, you heard of Jesus turning water into wine? Well, young Patrick was able to turn water into honey.
Really? I thought it was cool.
It's not as cool. I mean,
yeah, I know it's not as fun as the last
that's
one.
fun. That is a very lame miracle power. So
dude.
I'm disappointed.
Oh, you can water into wine.
These exist.
You're the all-powerful God of the universe. You're turning water into wine. Please, come on.
He should at least made it into meat or something.
That's what I was gonna say. Like meat is good.
Jack Daniels. You know,
but it is a myth. Honey was believed to have healing properties, so St. Patrick transmuted the water into honey to heal a sick woman when he was a kid. Like I said, in his own confessions, he wasn't even religious as a kid. This is just all myths that got assigned to him later.
He just went to a beehive and said, "Look at all this water flowing." No, that's coming. No, it's
wait a minute, Troy. Are you saying that religious people made shit up about somebody?
I will get in. I am getting into that later because it's like there's a reason why all this stuff got assigned to him. But either way, next up. While shepherding as a child, a wolf killed a baby lamb in Patrick's care. So Patrick prayed and brought the lamb back to life.
That's an obvious fact. I mean, that's historical.
yeah, that's obvious. I do that all the time over my bracket lamb.
I mean, I believe the wolf killing a lamb. That I believe. I don't believe obviously, I believe that's like you got to back to life.
So yeah, it's most likely not true. So is it myth or balderdash?
I think it's a myth.
Myth.
I'm going with balderdash.
I'll go to myth.
Yeah, it is balderdash.
Fucking.
There is a
balderdashes in a row.
Yeah. There is a similar myth, though, where a wolf took one of Patrick's lambs, and Patrick was held responsible. So he prayed for the lamb's safe return, and the wolf brought the lamb back to him unharmed the next morning.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
it's just like that lion last week that was helping bury that body. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
they have bodies like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like, good news, guys. The wolf brought the lamb back, and I don't know who stole McGinnis's lamb down the road, but it's but anyway. Okay, so this one you guys will probably get. As a teen, Patrick was kidnapped by Irish pirates who sold him into slavery. He worked as a shepherd for an Irish chieftain.
Someone else answer. I'm not good at this game.
I mean, it sounds true, but I almost think the entire character of St. Patrick is a myth to begin with. So I'll go with myth.
Myth. Myth. I like it. Just
it is
classical things that I get concerned.
No, it is true, or at least mostly we think. In St. Patrick's written confession, he does say that he took care of sheep while in Ireland. At the same time, sheep didn't come to Ireland until the 1500s. So either he was telling a personal truth, or
he took care of sheep, all right. Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, yeah.
But, most likely they figured he was like a goat herder. And then it just got mistranslated over the years or something like that. But he definitely wasn't watching sheep, even though there's a historical record that he was. Either way, after 6 years of slavery, an angel came to Patrick and told him where to find the buried gold and to find a ship over 200 miles away that would take him back to England.
You know, if after 6 years, what took you so long? I've been here for 6 years, and you tell me this gold now?
But time isn't the same to God and His angels. So really, it was tomorrow. You don't know.
He's taking sweet time. Okay, I think that's myth too. That's myth.
Balderdash.
Yeah. Truth and myth. Obviously, Patrick had to escape somehow, but the story definitely has some spin on it. But the story, again, comes from his confession, like his written word of about how God told, God or whatever told him that where to find a ship or whatever, like 200 miles away. But at the same time, it's like, if you walk towards the ocean, you're going to find a ship. Okay. Instead of going home straight away, St. Patrick took a side trip to France, wandered the wilderness for 28 days with sailors, prayed to God to feed everyone with wild pigs, and that same night was tempted by Satan. So Patrick prayed to the pagan god Helios or Apollo for deliverance and was saved by Christ. He then studied to become a priest in a French monastery, eventually becoming a bishop.
All right.
All this is historical. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely fact.
It's a blending.
I mean, there's some truth to it. There's probably some truth to it because, going to the wilderness of France at the time and eat wild pigs, that's true. Yeah. They were actually quite renowned for that. But whether or not he was attacked by Satan and all that, that's all myth.
Yeah, it is true. It also comes from his profession or his confessions. Yeah. The whole vision of the burning sun in the night sky, immobilizing cramps and a weight on his chest, and other visions and fevers. I'm guessing got food poisoning from the pigs. But
he tried to add some mushrooms that he found in the pig.
That's what I was gonna say. He had some mushrooms for flavoring, and
he tried to do some of that pig wine. He tried to.
Yeah, exactly.
Pig penis wine.
So good.
It's like,
hey, man, I got something you gotta try, man.
5-0 to 9. Irishmen can't tell the difference. That didn't come out right. Sorry. During his lifetime, St. Patrick converted Ireland to Christianity. Truth, myth, or balderdash?
Oh, that's it. That's what. Okay.
I think it's myth. Probably there was Christianity probably before Patrick arrived.
I think it's a myth.
Yeah, it is a myth. Even though, even in St. Patrick's confession, he admits the Gauls still insist on worshiping their pagan idols and not knowing God, and only a few were actually converting to Christianity. The actual myth of him converting Ireland to Christianity probably started around the 9th century and didn't make it into any writings until the 12th century. So,
and the Gauls were known for having gods for all kinds of things. They had gods for mustard. They had gods for like everything. They had like a real large array of them.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, okay. Either way, multiple choice. What color of clothing did St. Patrick wear? A, emerald green. B, sky blue. C, royal purple.
A.
Oh
Green.
God, I was saying no, probably brown.
It's the color of the beer, you know.
Yeah.
So
Trick question. It's anyone's guess, but sky blue. But a sky blue robe and hood matches the earliest depictions of St. Patrick.
I win.
Various legends have him dressed in white, yellow, red, or blue. Sky blue is the official color of the Order of St. Patrick, founded in the 16th century by King George, and is called St. Patrick's blue. Fast forward a few centuries, blue became commonly associated with British rule. So St. Patrick blue was rebranded as green in the 19th century for political reasons to differentiate Ireland from England.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. So the green thing is relatively new. Okay.
That was great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cutting you off there, buddy, because we're running against the clock. I got a good reason to come in there.
Okay, I will limit it to 10 questions next week because we're only on 12. We're moving up to 12. I didn't even get to the good spots. St. Patrick's Day is completely false, but either okay, moving on.
All holidays are made up anyway, Troy.
They are. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day, like just a quick summary, like most of our traditions all come within the last 200-300 years.
Oh,
like, and most of what we think is true about St. Patrick's Day is myth.
Yeah,
but
I thought the pagan thing, driving the snakes, that which were associated with pagans, was true. I did, and now you were like, no, it's bullshit. I'm like, okay, learn something new. Moving on.
Well, that was the pygmy thing, the driving a pagan thing. That actually, there's actually a story behind that where he gets rid of all the whole bunch of demonic children, the son of some snake god. But these demonic children would turn into snakes. So he drove them out while also battling the snake god, who eventually swallowed him. And then Patrick killed him from the inside out with this bishop's crook.
I'm telling you, these are the best D&D origin stories.
Oh yeah.
Every time you tell a story, I'm like, I can make a character out of that.
I'm just thinking like St. Patrick inside this. Yeah, I'm thinking of St. Patrick in this giant mythical snake. You shall not pass through my digestive system. Okay.
All right, Bradley, you're up, my friend. You got another brilliant moment for us.
I do. Yeah. There's this thing called, so there's this guy named Charley Kirk. Kirk. Well, I don't know his name.
Where's our heart?
All we know is he had a chocolate factory.
Charlie Spurt. I don't know, man. That's fucking
Charlie's sperm. This just got PG-13 and higher.
Charlie.
Is this some sort of alcoholic drink?
He's drinking the 3 penis wine.
You know, that does it. You know.
5 points for Helen on that one.
I was asking him to add another penis for mine, but they refused. No, Charlie Kirk does these types of, I guess they're kind of like convention sort of things.
Oh.
And so he did it with PragerU. He had PragerU was there.
PragerU, the blog that pretends to be a university. I love these guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
You mean my diploma isn't good?
No,
it's so good. Oh man!
If it wasn't signed by Ben Shapiro, it's not good, man. I'm sorry.
Right. First Trump University, now this.
So he does. So he did a clip basically, like I've got right here, but this is like a minute and something long. But he's just talking to PragerU at his thing, and it's just super embarrassing because of how incorrect they get like the founding of America. It's just kind of embarrassing.
Are you telling me that the founding of America was not done by Jesus?
I know. He wasn't even. He didn't even sign the Constitution.
No, I thought for sure he signed the Constitution.
I mean, I've been told he does. They teach that at PragerU, actually.
And delivered by Jesus, I'm sure.
I'm sure they're very upset
Jesus
by
never
Hamilton.
crossed the Delaware on a Velociraptor. Also,
No.
That
was
so
St.
cool.
Patrick, man. Hold on, you just went over all this. Like that was.
You playing the clip off your phone? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. I was gonna play. I love the internet capacity. I don't think for the.
Can you just speak a little bit about America's founding roots and how the American founders knew the Torah, and in fact, how Deuteronomy was the most quoted of any book, secular or religious, in the writing of the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, and the Declaration of Independence? We teach our kids in government schools that America was a secular nation. But in reality, it was the Bible that founded the philosophical tradition of the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world.
So you need to know
just don't fact check
Deuteronomy. Yes, he's heard me note. I did not know this. The founders quoted Deuteronomy more than any other biblical book and any other secular book. The second most quoted author was Montesquieu. And by the way, you'll find this of interest. Jesus cites Psalms the most, and second most Deuteronomy. The founders knew the Bible, the Torah in particular, so well that Jefferson and Franklin suggested that the Great Seal of the United States depict the Jews leaving Egypt.
Exactly, yeah.
And these two were the least religious in the sense of being, they were not doctrinally Christian. They were God-centered.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
Let's just pick your interview up off the floor now.
Drop right there.
I mean, that was the end because that made me laugh so hard. They were God's Jefferson. He was God.
He wrote. There's the Jefferson Bible where he took out all the bullshit.
He couldn't stand religion, man. Like
just because you quote Deuteronomy a lot doesn't mean it's because you agree with it. We quote Charley Kirk a lot. It's not because we agree with him, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know
there
why.
are so many sayings we have in our society that comes from Proverbs that we don't even realize. Like it's a like there's like certain quotes and adages that just become ingrained in society that people don't even know where they come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a but at the same time though, that guy's like totally exaggerating, cherry picking history to get the conclusion that he wants.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason why the founding fathers quoted the Torah and the Bible so much is because they knew the power behind Christianity. And this is why they wrote the U.S. Constitution to be a secular document. They knew where this could lead. And this is exactly why they decided to do that. It's not because they were agreeing with everything, because Deuteronomy says also, you can't have tattoos or anything like that. You can't have mixed fabrics and shit like that. So.
Yeah. If the founding fathers were so Christian, then they wouldn't make the Anglican Church in the United States change its name and completely separate itself from the Church of England, which was an extension of the monarchy. Like they knew that the church and the monarchy or authoritarian rule went hand in hand with each other, and that's why they created a system to separate church from state.
Yeah,
but
it's the whole point of it all. It was the whole point of the United States to begin with. It was to not reproduce what they already had in England. If that was the case, they would have just stayed there.
Right, because they were like, "Oh, King George is crazy."
Yeah.
And then they didn't want to be under British rule, and then they came when they came over here, they were like, "Oh, we can create our own nation." and have our own rules and be separate from the Church of England. And we'll create a society where you can practice or not practice whatever you want. Because they also decided that the Puritans were a little fanatical.
Well, they did cancel Christmas, so darn Puritans.
They did. They canceled Christmas. They're the original cancelers of Christmas. It is not us woke
the original
people.
cancel culture.
I mean, they were the guys that would tar and feather people too.
If you're a student of history, you realize really quickly that the church, no matter which religion, has always been on the side of power, right? And oppressive power most of the time. So it doesn't matter which one it is. Anyway, thank you so much for that, Bradley. That was great, as per usual. Let's take a quick pause, and when we come back, we'll be back with Kara G. So that'll be fun. Maybe is she ready for this? Has she signed the papers? Do we know?
I told them. I was like, you're going to be part of the thing. Like, you be part of my podcast and be my friends.
You did apologize in advance for me, right? Because I'll stick my foot in my mouth somewhere, I'm sure.
We all will. It's fine.
Okay. We'll be right back with her, so stay with us. All right, Helen, maybe you'd be so kind to introduce our next guest, since she's your guest after all.
Yes. So Dr. Kara Griffin was raised a fundamentalist Christian, receiving intensive instruction and indoctrination from sources including private church schools and homeschool groups, purity culture, youth seminars, and evangelical mega churches. Oh my goodness. Every time, like, I know Kara well, but every time they tell me a little bit more about their past, I'm like, oh, gross. Anyway, after leaving the faith in college, Kara began pursuing their lifelong passion for learning and appreciating rather than condemning the diversity of humans and other animals in all their magnificent queerness. They hold a master's degree in dispute resolution and conflict management and a PhD in anthropology. Kara enjoys volunteering with secular organizations that support other people who may have experienced judgment, repression, trauma, or other struggles related to their involvement with religious ideology. Kara serves as the online programming director at Recovering from Religion and hosts the weekly RFRX talks with other much cooler, like me, co-hosts and volunteers. Kara also regularly appears on the atheist community of Austin's live shows, such as Secular Sexuality. And welcome, Kara. Thank you for coming to our little corner of the internet.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
She doesn't know us yet, does she? Poor thing.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll see if I thank you at the end or not.
I figure we're about 15 minutes away from a restraining order.
That's okay. Y'all might be blocking me by the end of this. Don't call them back. Don't invite
Tomorrow's
them.
Car's going to be like, why, Helen, why? And I'm like, I thought it was a good idea at the time.
Every good story starts out. Seemed like it was going to be such a good idea.
Yeah.
We invited Kara, and then
and then
downhill from there.
Exactly. All right. Well, welcome, Kara. Well, normally ask my guests to give us a quick bio about themselves, but it seems that Helen's already pretty much given you your entire life there. So,
Yeah.
you want to add to that?
My work here is done.
So, what are we discussing today, ladies?
So I invited Kara on because I wanted them to talk about because even though we're very supportive to the queer community, like I'm queer, but I've never experienced my life as someone that is dealing with not being non-binary or being trans, so I wanted them to talk a little bit about their experience of being a non-binary person and what's that like navigating that, especially in the United States, especially in the culture that we are in now. So I thought this would be a very good conversation to have.
Excellent. That's good. Let's dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's. Oh, sorry. Did I talk over you?
By all means, the floor is all yours, Carol. We'll take us wherever you want.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I totally agree with Helen. It's one of those things that I feel like it's in the news a lot. It's in politics a lot. People talk about it a lot, but it's almost like kind of it's always sort of a meme or it's a talking point. But I don't think that we have enough just conversation with people who are trans or non-binary. And then, talking to other people who aren't, and, you know, meeting in real life and having conversations about things that aren't about, you know, what's the latest bathroom bill we're going to come out with, or, you know, what's the latest band we're going to have. Like, we don't need all that.
What I find absolutely shocking about all this is, well, if we just go by the sheer numbers, you know, if we go for just the popular percentage of the population that is homosexual in the population is what, 10-15% maybe of the population, and of that population there that you call queer or trans or something like that, it's even less. It's like it's like not even 1% of the population. Yet in the United States, they make it sound like you guys are under every rock and you turn every stone, and there's a queer popping out of there trying to get you or something like that.
They're trying to steal the kids. They're trying to get the kids. It's the fucking.
It's such a.
But they make it sound.
It's very strange.
I mean,
it's the trans panic, and they're coming for your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
And don't let them touch you, or you'll catch it.
You'll catch it. Yes, that's exactly right. You don't want to catch it. It's very expensive. You'll have to buy all new clothes. You'll have to get a haircut. I mean, you don't want to get that. Don't catch that.
I think we should turn this around.
I almost wore my pandemic mask today just in case.
Because it just comes off.
Yeah, it could come through the internet. You know, so many kids are catching it online these days, you know, through the socials. I mean, I don't know.
God, the sad thing is they actually think that. They don't not think that. That's insane. Right?
Yeah. You can also catch it through library books too, apparently.
Oh, yes, you got to ban those. Yeah. I literally 30 minutes ago was walking past a library.
I can prepare.
And yeah, I love that. That is excellent. You might need that. Make sure it's completely sealed. I mean, the articles can be very, very small.
When did Kevin become an aardvark?
No, I just can't prepare for this. I don't want to catch the queer.
You're gonna catch it.
Very careful. Very careful.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I was walking past a library that had like this big mural of all these like classic books on it, and then, you know, we were walking past it, and I got to the end of it, and it had a little banner that was about, hey, guess how many of these books have been banned? And it was like most of them. And I mean, we're talking like very commonplace classic books, like To Kill a Mockingbird, and you know, stuff like that. Charlotte's Web. Like, these have all been banned for.
Wait a minute, is Charlotte queer? Is that what I'm finding out here?
It's a woman on the title. I mean, like,
I think it's a spider. I think that's a spider.
Well, I was looking at a book list. I was looking at a book list, and so many of the books were like from stuff that I read in high school, like Animal Farm, Lord the Fly, Charlotte's Web, like you said, To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, these are all like excellent books that people should read to like learn about like what culture was like at one point, so that you can get a bit of an idea of where culture is going. But
it was mandatory in schools when back east in PEI, like To Kill a Mockingbird, that was one of the major English books that you had to do a project, like a whole essay on.
Wasn't it? Wait, which one was it? Was it To Kill a Mockingbird? It was like the one that the white supremacist guy was obsessed with. Is it that
boy! Oh, I think you might be thinking of. Oh, is it that one? I was thinking of Catcher in the Rye, but probably that too.
Yeah.
Listen, can we just have a discussion that anything that is either remotely sexual, remotely has anyone that their skin is darker than egg whites, or that might be on the LGBTQ plus spectrum cannot be discussed, because apparently that's, I don't know why it's bad, but apparently I'm told it's bad. I don't know why, but okay.
Apparently, Hop on Pop by Dr. Zeus got banned. And I'm saying to my wife, why did they ban Hop on Pop? It encourages children to disrespect their parents and not listen. It's like, it's one page of the whole book. It's like we're talking about Dr. Zeus. But either way,
we live in crazy town.
It's crazy town. And banning books, like there's books that preach hate and stuff, I can understand, like, ban that from like schools, because the fact that it's something that people should digest older in age, where they can like compare different perspectives. But books that are like highlighting history, culture, stuff that allows people to realize like who we are as a people, where we came from, how we're changing, is like, that seems crucial to a child's development. development to my mind, but.
Well, and I think you hit on exactly, one of the main points here is this: what is being contested with these, quote unquote culture wars is whose version of reality gets to be counted as real, because these people that want to ban all these things, they want to make it seem as though queer people don't actually exist in real life, and they erase it. If they can erase it out of the books, then maybe the kids will stop catching it and they can erase it out of real life. That is the goal. And they will tell you, like, well, no, this is unnatural. This is not the way human beings are. This is like, I don't know, you're a fake person. I don't really quite understand. Like, this isn't real. This is a brand new thing that, no one's ever been trans before. This is new. And that is, could not be further from the truth. It's completely false. This has been prevalent in all human societies since forever, as far as we know, as well as other animal populations. I mean, it's complete nonsense to suggest that this is not just a normal condition of the world, but that's what they're trying to write out of education. They want to educate kids to think that it's not real and doesn't exist. And I don't know why anyone.
I would either argue or add to that because I don't, like, from my experience, like being a Christian years ago, it wasn't so much that trans and gays and stuff weren't real. It was the message that they didn't belong in a Christian society, that they were poison, that if you accept them in any way, then that's how Rome fell, or it's.
Yes. Yeah, I get the Rome thing a lot. I don't know really why that's
Well, the irony is I could probably make a better argument that Christianity led to the fall of Rome more than homosexuality, because like Christianity back then was meant to program people to like forget about all the bad crap about the empire collapsing and disparity that everybody's experiencing. It's think about a better tomorrow. Think of heaven. It's like, who cares that you're living in authoritarianism? That's just a couple of years until you're beyond the pearly gates.
Yeah,
and
they're doing the same thing today with climate change, right? Don't worry about it. God will save us. They're doing the exact same thing.
It's always the same. It's the same pony show. It's like when there's existential problems going on. It is, I get it. Like, it would be a lot easier for me to cling to that. Like, oh well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to go to a paradise and it won't be so bad. But we don't have that to hold on to anymore. You're just like, well, this is the only place we got, as far as I know. Maybe we shouldn't destroy it or destroy each other. Maybe we don't do those things.
Yeah. And plus, like, the danger of like thinking of thinking about heaven or the next tomorrow or God saving everything. That's an excuse to let bad people to keep doing bad things. And I think that's why you have like so many people pushing populist narratives like the trans panic or the homosexuality or migrants or atheists eating babies or whoever you want to vilify. It's all about getting people riled up and about like these dangers, while also being devoted to a belief system that allows bad people to keep doing bad things, while good people are worried about if a penguin has two dads.
Just to give parentheses here.
I want to kind of bring this back around a little bit, because I wanted Carter to talk about more like their personal experience of growing up in a evangelical Protestant household, and being like, when did you start to question things about your gender? What was that like? So I would like to hear more of like that personal story for you, because again, like we're talking points, but I want to hear more about personal experiences people had. So
yeah, no, I think that's great too. That's a good idea, Helen, because I know for a lot of people, all they ever hear is the talking points. They never actually get to know a person sometimes. And I think that is important. And also, let me start by saying, someone in the comments is going to notice, so I'm just going to have to come clean. I realized I was drinking out of a mug that has a Bible verse on it just now. My mom gave me this. She's very religious. So that gives you any idea. There's still little artifacts sprinkled throughout my life of my upbringing. And
what is the Bible quote?
One of them. Yeah, so this is Joshua 24:15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, which is ironic. We do not serve the Lord here.
Oh man, I thought it was going to be the penises and the emissions.
I thought you were a Star Wars fan.
Star Wars
fan. Lord Vader, we hail you. No.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So there's things like that. But yeah, we did. We grew up. My brother and I both grew up super duper religious, and like Helen, you described it at the beginning from my bio. But yeah, like our family was into the Bill Gothard Institute and Basic Life Principles program, which is way out on the far fringe of extreme fundy stuff. We did like homeschool programs and things, and it was very, very traditional. There was a long period of my childhood where, when it was time to go to church, which was, several times a week, you would not be wearing pants. Okay, I made it sound like everyone was going to church naked. What I meant was...
You get out there with your underwear, goddammit. And you sit
I want to see that church.
Yeah, no, that made it sound way more exciting than it was. No, what I meant was I did not get allowed to wear pants. I had to wear dresses and skirts, which was, first of all, like, that's probably... I'm going to say regressive as far as, having rules about, women or people who are assigned female not being allowed to wear pants is already, pretty intense. But also, I did not like wearing dresses and skirts because from the time I was old enough to know what gender was, I was like, hey, Mom, I'm not actually a girl, though. And, that did not go well at all. Not at all. Because, of course, that's not an option. It's like they're talking to you like you're an idiot, explaining to you that that's not true and you're confused and we know what body parts you have. And, when you're 5, you don't really know what to say to that.
No. And they're telling you that everybody's born exactly the way God created them, except that you're broken and you need Jesus and you're totally wrong. Everything's wrong, but you gotta way to confuse the fuck out of me, man. But all right.
Right. Yeah. But don't worry. If you're confused, that's also your fault. You have a bad attitude and your faith is not sufficient. You need to go pray. And I'm over there and I'm like, am I supposed to be hearing anything back? Like, are other people hearing anything back? I'm not. Is it me? Nothing. That was
the plus side is they didn't have you exercised or anything. Like you'll hear that in the news where it's like they'll try to exercise the queerness out of kids.
Yes, that's true. I did not have an exorcism, although they did do exorcisms at the private school where I went. They did believe in all the demons and stuff, but it was more of a, in my case, I think it was more of a metaphorical, Satan has influenced you to be confused, and so, you're being sinful and rebellious and need to pray more. So I did not actually get exercise.
They pray out the pot demons. They
right. Oh yeah.
Struggle with the pot demons. Yep.
We all know it. We all know Satan's anti-skirt. He doesn't like skirts either. So
it is interesting that they have to argue things like pieces of cloth and have to get people to perform gender roles. And if you go against that, they have to vilify it, even though we live in America and women wearing pants is normal. It's very interesting. It's so I'm like, but we've gotten over that for over 100 years. People wear pants.
We've been wearing pants. Why is this the hill we're gonna die on?
Well, the funny thing is even if you go throughout history, you go back into Greek civilizations, women were the ones usually wearing long toga kind of pants, and guys usually really didn't. It's the men that didn't wear much of anything at all. So.
Well, right, and this is the part that always gets to me, because they will try and justify these rules by saying things like, well, this is the way it has always been. This is the correct way for men and women to be. It's always been this way. No, it has not. Not
Have
one
you
bit of
seen
this
the
is all
Victorian era? Like, have you
Complete
seen?
nonsense.
What about Scottish people? I'm Scottish, man. Kilts are masculine, goddammit.
I love a kilt. I love man a kilt.
It's all made up, man. It's all made up. Like, this is nonsense. It gives a shit.
Completely made up, but only they get to make it up. You can't make up something different. You have to go with what they made up and pretend that they didn't make it up. Like, I'm sorry, this is too much mental gymnastics. I can't keep up with it.
It is very weird because, like, I live very close to a Mennonite community. It's one of the biggest, actually, in the United States. In Sarasota, like, they've done documentaries here about the Mennonite Amish community. Oh yeah, and it's weird when I drive by because they have like women in like bonnets and plain clothing with men with long beards, and they're on bikes. They're also using motorized bikes, which is interesting. But there's a lot of women that when I worked at a swimsuit shop down here, they would come in and want to buy the bikinis, you know, but they couldn't. They would be looking at swimwear. They would even try it on, but they could not buy it because in their religion, they can't wear things like that. So, and it was very depressing to me. I was like, you should be able to wear what you want, you know. But I'm like, well, you're also dressed like Little House on the Prairie. So,
yeah, but do they buy the bikini and just like wear it underneath? You know,
no, they don't buy them. They don't buy them. They have. I don't know. I don't know what Amish people wear to the beach.
They have to have money. They have to be like, "What'd you buy with that?" And be like, nothing. What?
Yeah.
I lost it. What? I don't know. Yours?
But it is very selective because they have cell phones and they use motorized bikes and they own businesses. Like, but for some reason, clothing and there's certain things that you just can't pass. Also, side note: the Amish community, the Mennonite community here sells Coke.
Nice.
I know people that bought Coke.
So it's that cherry Coke or Coke Zero?
Yeah, it's the Coke Zero, definitely. Like the cherry Coke's too spicy.
Now, so next time I see a man and a woman, I'll tell her, you buy the bikini, I'll wear it for you, dear. Just
right.
I know. It's like, I don't have clothing with any buttons. I ride a horse and buggy. And I love cocaine. This is working for me.
It's all natural.
God created it, right? You know.
Yeah.
He did create cocoa leaf, so you know. Sure.
It's on him.
So when you were kind of like, I'm sure that somewhere around, you know, your childhood, you realized that you're like, oh, I don't want to conform to this idea of what you're teaching me, like what I'm supposed to do. So what was it like kind of trying to push back against that and, you know, kind of wanting to become your own person?
Yeah. And you know, everybody's situation is certainly going to be unique. My experience of that in, you know, pretty extra super fundy Christianity was that, you know, there are a lot of things that stop you from actually being able to do that, even if you want to. You know, it's just, you're not going to have access to the clothes you want to wear or the haircut that you want to have or any of the activities that you want to do. You just simply are prevented from doing it. Like, you know, maybe you go, well, hey, you know, I don't actually want to wear dresses and be in, you know, whatever, the girls' performance of the choir. Well, you're going and you will wear this and, you know, that's it and that's all. And so there was a lot of that up until, like, you know, for most kids, once you get to be like a teenager, you kind of start being able to be a little bit more of your own person. So at that point, if I could buy it, I guess I could wear it if I got out of the house. But I mean, you won't be going out of the house wearing something that your parents don't approve of. You know, you won't be getting a haircut. I would, as soon as I had enough money to go, I got a job and went and got my hair cut off. Like, I got like a buzz cut. It was actually the day before prom when I was 17. My mom lost it.
Holy shit. All right. I
love that. I'm sorry. I kind of love it.
Me too. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
It was great. It was great. I was at Great Clips and I was like, do it. Take it all. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
You know, it's kind of funny because it reminds me of one of the guests on the show, previous guests on the show, Janice Selby. You're pretty much aware
We
of her.
love Janice.
Janice is
We
great.
love Janice.
She was telling the story because she came out of Mennonite as well, right? She was very fundamentalist and all that, and she was telling stories of how she was starting to rebel. For example, she would buy a dress, but she would make a dress out of a fabric. But if you look closely at the fabric, it was like a certain font color, and all the patterns were like tiny penises. And she would make a dress out of that to start rebelling against the religion. Did you have any kind of moments like that where you did kind of that yourself?
Man.
Bend the rules, essentially?
I don't think I ever did anything as cool as Janice. I did not have a penis print dress, although, now I'm reevaluating my life choices, and I definitely should have.
Penis print. Why did I?
They shall go. Give money to this show, and we'll make sure Kara gets a penis print dress.
Yes, I would wear that. I would wear a dress for that every once in a while. Yes, there's a penis on it.
I have this. I'm gonna
needs to
show you a
write
website, Cara, that you can get a penis mug with little rainbow penises on it, and it's amazing. And I kind of want one just to use in this podcast and have my penis mug.
You just saw penis wine glasses on Amazon for sale.
Everybody stop saying penis. All right, we're just gotta. All right, look.
It's been a very penis day. We did the three penis wine. It's penises everywhere. There's testosterone all over the place right now.
No, I'm telling you guys, we were just doing this just before Kara came on. Let me share the screen again and let me show you. There it is. There you go.
Hey!
Jesus Christ.
I mean, now I know what I'm getting myself for Christmas, I guess.
Sorry about all this.
I'll buy you one for Christmas.
I'll send one to my mom. It'll be great.
Yeah, Mom will love it.
So, yeah, definitely.
So when you were like starting to rebel and kind of say like, hey, I don't want to be the person you want me to be. I want to be myself. How does your family react to that?
Yeah. So it depends. My mom was not okay with any of it. She's known for my whole life that I am this way, but she has just never given up hope that she is going to one day, pray hard enough that I will stop having sinful thoughts and, become a proper lady. I think she's holding on to that. She's going to take that to her grave. It's not happening. But she's waiting for it. She's hoping. Every time I see her, she'll have
heard
some
a maybe.
comment. No. Yeah, right. So you're saying there's a chance? No, I'm not.
This is a 30, Cara. It's a 30+ year stage. Eventually, it's gonna stop.
It's that. Oh yeah, and she would always tell people like whatever was happening, it would be, oh, Kara's going through this phase where fill in the blank with whatever. One time, this was the most embarrassing. So I used to work in law enforcement. I don't anymore for a lot of reasons. But
not corrupt enough, are you?
Do what?
You're not corrupt enough, are you?
I mean, there are some issues. But I was like, for a while, and for me, actually, to be perfectly honest, a lot of that had to do with, that being a way of my asserting sort of a level of gender nonconformity that really felt meaningful to me at the time. I mean, it was kind of a big fuck you, no, I'm not going to be a housewife kind of move when I ran off and joined the police academy. So, I mean, that was kind of one of the ways that I did that. So in some ways it was actually that was an experience that was very sort of gender affirming for me, and, the sense of being kind of a non-binary person and like brushing off kind of the last vestiges of, forced femininity. So it was really cool, in that way. But, again, as you mentioned, there are a lot of other issues that, are attached to law enforcement, especially in the United States right now. And that's the whole other conversation.
That's another show.
That's not your fault.
Another show.
You want to have me back, we can do a deep dive on that one. But my mom would tell people like for years, like I remember specifically hearing her tell someone one time, oh, Kara wants to get involved in law enforcement because she's really into that show, The X-Files, and wants to like look for aliens.
You want to investigate aliens?
I mean, that is a great show, but I mean,
I did like the X-Files. That part was true.
But she connected these.
In a little weird and a roundabout way.
That's great. I love your mom. I love your mom. It's a bad thing.
Man, she's just searching for stuff she wants to think. Man, that's awesome. Okay.
I know. And she's a really nice lady. Like, I mean, I don't want to come on and just bash my mom. Like, she means well, but.
Yeah, I'm the same
That's
way.
like me saying, like, you know, my oldest Kai is getting into pharmacy because she they like Breaking Bad.
It's kind of embarrassing when you say that about your adult child.
Yeah, exactly.
And Fear and Loathing. She likes that movie too.
Yeah.
She's a pharmacist. I don't know.
That must be it. You know, is it that why you all got your jobs? Because you like some fantastical television program?
Yeah, I'm a janitor, so yeah, I like the movie about.
Yeah.
The
Dirty
Avenger.
Dozen?
The Toxic Avenger, of course. The Toxic Avenger. I don't know why I forgot that.
You know, you're part of the cleanup crew that, like, you know, when the mob, like, you know, you have to go, like, you know, clean up after a crime scene. That's what it is. Yeah.
Like the Boondocks?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. You work for the mob. That's why you got into become a janitor.
I see how you got there.
CSI Florida edition.
Sure. Yeah, it's the Florida.
So I'd like. So when you went into law enforcement and you were, and especially afterwards when you went, you know, you've always been like doing continuing education, getting your doctorate. Like, was it a mixture of like proudness and also like, oh wait, they're not doing the thing I want them to do? So is it like a kind of a mixed bag with your family?
Yeah, it is. Well, especially like once there are other members of my family who are like perfectly fine about it. They're like, cool, whatever, you do you. And I'm lucky to, you know, have some people in my family who are supportive, you know, and even, you know, my brother's just like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but whatever, I don't care, you know. Like, that's fine. I'm good with that. But yeah, the more like, I mean, I'm going to say it's the fundamentalist, extremely conservative members of my family that cannot support this at all. And so, yeah, they'd be like, oh, this is great. We're so proud of you. You're going to grad school. That's wonderful. And then they would, you know, like my mom, I had my mom like proofread some of my dissertation chapters. And one of them is like just steeped in queer theory. And she's like, well, I don't know. I didn't like that one. You know?
They have to let you know, don't they? So,
I didn't like that one.
I didn't like that one.
Okay, all right, move on.
Okay.
Move on. Then. Which one do you like?
We're moving on. Then that's fine.
You gotta love the Christians because they can't even fake it. You can't even say, "Oh yeah, that was a very interesting read." They can't even do that. It's like
the thing that us atheists have to do all the fucking time, by the way. All right,
right. And that's the thing too. Like, and I have talked to her about this, and other people. It's not just my mom. Other people, to in some of these like extreme, you know, steeped in these very particular religious beliefs. They have said to me that they honestly feel like, well, no, I have to tell you if I disagree with something you're doing, because that is how I express God's love. Because if I don't tell you that you're sinning, then you'll keep doing it and you'll go to hell and I won't have saved you. And you know, I have tried to explain, well, you criticizing me in this way is not going to make me stop doing it. It's going to make me stop liking you and probably do it more just to spite you. So you're actually not achieving the goal that you described. But they're like, no, I can't just not say anything. I have to tell you. Because that's how I, you know, let you know God's plan for your life and that you're not doing it.
It is very strange because, like, I've like even just being pansexual and talking to people or being polysexual or whatever term you want to use, and as soon as I tell someone that's religious or they find out, they have to be like, well, are you acting on it? And I'm like, if I was, does it matter? I'm like, and then they're like, well, if you act on it, you're going to go to hell. I'm like, why exactly? Why? Please explain.
Why?
But they have to tell you, because if they don't tell you, they're not doing, their job, because God can't tell you himself.
No, apparently he can't. I have tried many times to communicate with him. I got nothing. There's no signal. I don't know what's going on. But
have you checked the toaster? He appears on toaster.
You gotta
let me stick a fork in there and see. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Apparently, the almighty, powerful God of the universe needs all these little minions to act on his behalf. He can't do it himself, apparently. No.
Yeah, and they all get different messages. It's weird.
It's weird how he just keeps giving different messages to everybody.
And the messages always affirm what the person hearing them thinks. It's
God seems to hate the same people you hate. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Or he loves the same people you love.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, he approves of your lifestyle.
Yeah. I think back to my evangelical days, and I remember some pretty crazy narratives and accusations about like the trans and gay community. Like you've probably got a few zingers forever that kind of like stuck in your head.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So one thing that really stuck with me, and my brother confirms this is not like sometimes when you're young you misremember things, but my brother also confirms, he's older, that this did for sure happen. We had a close family member of my mom who was getting married. It was a heterosexual marriage. Everything was fine. Now, she was not a Christian in their opinion. I don't know if she actually...
Catholic?
Yeah, it was something like that, yes.
They weren't true Christians.
Christian, but what made it worse was her sister was a lesbian. And I'm not even kidding, y'all. As we were getting prepared to go to this wedding of our family member, and we're little. We're like, I must have been like, I don't know, 6 or 7. And, my brother was a little older. We got coached ahead of the wedding and told, very clearly in no uncertain terms, you can't let her sister hug you. Don't let her touch you because you might get AIDS.
Oh, God.
Oh,
that is so sad.
It was so upsetting. Even at the time, I was like, I understand, that doesn't make sense. But, you're little, you don't know anything. You're just like, okay, whatever.
I remember the school playground. Any kid that was seen as unmasculine or feminine in any way, don't touch him, you'll get AIDS. Or it's a... It's like there was all these like really
what happened to
nasty...
cooties? Holy shit! What happened to
Just go with cooties.
It's
like everybody's just skipped from cooties to AIDS all of a sudden because
just say cooties. Just say you're gonna get cooties. Like a 6-year-old's gonna go, okay, I don't want cooties.
Cooties is so great too. We're in grade 5 now. We're
5 years old. We're 10 years old. We don't believe in cooties.
Yeah, don't share a swimming pool with a gay person. You'll catch AIDS.
Yeah, but this is what I was today about priests. Don't hug Father Vern there. You'll catch cooties.
Oh, you want to? So I'm gonna. So we're talking about AIDS, and I'm gonna do this little side thing. I learned at the History of Drag last weekend that in New York City, it was the drag queens and the people that were performers that were going into like crack houses and bathhouses and teaching people how to use condoms and have safe sex to prevent the spread of AIDS in those communities. So it was really the queer people that were going in trying to protect their own community because all the professionals were doing such a shit job. So
hold on, Helen. Are you telling me that St. Ronald Reagan wasn't taking the whole AIDS thing seriously?
I know.
Shocked.
Shocking.
Yeah, just say no to sex. That'll solve everything. This abstinence-only sex education works so well.
This is also, like, remember in sitcoms and stuff like that in the 80s, like there'd be like a kid that their friend had drugs and they would pour out like all these like pills and joints and I'm like, where's this 10-year-old getting all these like drugs? I'm like, wow.
Mescaline. That's mescaline right there.
Yeah.
That was like that thing that happened this past year where everybody got all worried that, like, don't let your kids go trick-or-treating because they're going to put all the fentanyl in their candy. I'm like, who is giving that out to kids for free? Who is doing that?
Expensive, man. Like, we're not, you know.
All these
Like,
drug dealers are saying,
Fentanyl's expensive.
I just feel like killing some kids. I don't know. What?
all these drug dealers are going, yeah, you know what? We need to
Yeah, it
expand
costs
our market
$10,000,
base. You know, we need to go after kids and Halloween.
Yeah, because the 6-year-old's going to come back and buy it from you next week once they're hooked. That's how that works.
Look, you're the one with the fucking
It's
hot,
really-
the butterscotch, right? You got the butterscotch.
To be fair,
sounds
it's
right.
really hard to do
was
that
a
when
good
you're dead.
butterscotch.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that they calculated the safe dosage for 6-year-olds. Like, I'm not sure.
Jesus, how
They don't know the
stupid.
safe dosage for adults, let alone 6-year-olds.
I know, right?
What a weird theory. Like, I would just.
Karen,
It
did
just
you?
goes to show how they recycle those same tropes over and over again. In the
Yeah.
90s, it was the Satanists are going to take your kids, and now it's the
That's
drug
making a
dealers.
comeback.
Oh,
and
this-
now
yeah,
the
the
trans
Satanists.
are going to take your kids.
It's
That's
their
good.
fears. It's
That's
just like
speaking of
their
comeback.
weird fucking fears, and they don't watch horror movies to just get it out of their system. You know what I mean? Like, just watch some horror
Because
movies.
you can't
Get
watch
it out of your
horror movies because that's how you let Satan in. You'll get a demon if you watch a horror movie. We
Yeah,
were
if
not allowed
anything's
to
going to
watch
scare the crap out of you, it's going to be the church.
It's, but at the same time, it shows you how dumb these fucking fears are. You know what I mean? Like, for me, anyway, that was why it was helpful. I fucking love horror movies, but
Me too.
because it just like let me let go of all that dumb, crazy, nonsensical fear.
Well, fear's a powerful control mechanism, especially when you say, "What about the children? Save the children!" And it's like it's like the trans community is like being vilified right now of like, I don't know, eating children, killing children, Care Bear staring them and turning them into trans.
They're shooting them with rainbows. That's what's happening.
Yes, it is that. It's always that. They're going to come in the bathroom and attack your children, or they're going to do a show that will somehow the fact that they're in drag is lewd and that will impact your children, or they're going to take your children and make them trans. Like, what? I mean,
And
none of this makes any sense.
Not only does it not make sense, but it statistically doesn't exist.
No, it's not happening. None of this is happening. None of that is happening.
Because think about it. It makes no sense. Okay, if you were like, okay, you're a predator. You want to fucking not be called a predator when you are like, you know, even when you are. But like, would you go to the people that are called predators even when they're not?
Yeah.
Or would you go to the people that aren't called predators even when they fucking are?
Like you would, because
obviously.
Guess what? What do child molesters do? They go into careers and jobs where they have access to kids. Teachers, coaches, youth group leaders, go into the church.
Ministers.
Ministers. Oh my goodness, I get access to kids, and because I'm in this authoritarian role, people don't question me.
You know,
That's what they do.
It's cover, man.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
Yeah.
church culture is the perfect background for a predator, because everybody kind of lives their own secret lives 5 days out of the week, and then on Sunday they all put on a false persona, and you don't look into other people's crap because you don't want them to look into yours. And it's like the perfect environment for a predator to not get caught.
Well,
because even if you're
Right.
doing something like sketchy, people aren't going to point it out or whatever, because one, you don't speak ill of the church, you don't backtalk another Christian, and then it's I just lost my train of thought. Either way,
you guys remember that show To Catch a Predator? How many drag queens and transgender people?
Right.
Zero. Shocking.
Lots of ministers and
like,
youth pastors
and
and
to
all
be
that
fair,
shit.
in any situation, I don't want to share a bathroom with a creep either. I don't care. Like no matter, like, and then if someone dressed as the gender they don't conform to and came into the fucking bathroom and acted like a creep show, or even I don't care how someone's dressed. If you're acting like a creep show, you're a creep show.
Yeah.
And don't. Yeah, and but they have to vilify and other people that do not conform into a worldview, because they've just been taught to suppress things that are naturally happens to you. Like you see with like toxic masculinity, like if you look at someone of the same gender and think they're hot, suddenly like, oh no, I'm like, no, your brain is just doing what your brain does, and go, I would like to tap that, and then you move on.
Right. It's okay. Yeah. And then it's not okay if you have this very binary view of you're either straight or going to hell. You can't ever acknowledge any of these other spectrum of thoughts and feelings that are normal for everyone to have.
And
even if you're straight, it's fish. It's normal.
And I think, like, I know you've experienced too, like this idea that we have to go around and educate people on things that, like, you could just do a Google search. Like, you don't have to.
Yes.
Like, it's important to hear people's personal stories and have conversations about it. But also at the same time, I'm like, if you actually cared about what the influence was, you would go research it.
Right.
Like,
yeah. No, exactly. And I'm perfectly happy to tell people all about it if they have questions, but we have the internet. If you have access to the internet, you can Google, what is non-binary? What is trans? And yeah, you need to use some basic internet literacy and make sure you're going to a credible, reputable site. Look for something with a .org or a .edu or a .gov on the end of it. Don't get some wacky blog, talking about something.
Don't go to PragerU. Don't go to PragerU.
No.
Don't go there.
Yeah. You can easily access this basic information. Yeah. When people try and pull this business of like, oh, well, I guess it's okay, but I just can't understand it. I'm like, that's kind of a cop-out. Like, can you read? Then I feel like you could understand it. Like, it's okay. You can read a book or, a website and understand it. I think sometimes when people do that, well, I just can't possibly understand it. It's still a way of othering, in a pretty aggressive way. Like, it's okay to not understand, but
no, it's a euphemism.
Yeah,
it's a euphemism because, like, in truth, if they were being told weekly in church that being trans was perfectly fine, if they were getting, if their ecosystem on the internet wasn't constantly putting it down, they could understand it just fine.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I just want to make a quick parenthesis here because Kara just mentioned books. I've got right here a quick list of best banned, censors, and challenge books in the U.S. And we got everything here from To Kill a Mockingbird to the Harry Potter series, 1984, Animal Farm, Fahrenheit 451, Diary of a Young Girl, The Catcher in the Rye. My God. Right?
Well, that's been going on forever.
Well, that's been banned for a long time, though.
Yeah, but everybody.
My mom
reads it.
confiscated that from me. I tried to read that and it got taken.
I had when I was a sophomore in high school, I wrote a whole paper on the Catcher in the Rye. I still have that paper. It's terrible.
Catcher in the Rye killed Lennon. Just remember that.
Oh, that's who the guy. That's the killer. I was talking.
Yeah.
My bad. All right.
That's what I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Handmaid's Tale.
Not always.
The Handmaid's
There's like
Tale,
a Mel
apparently.
Gibson movie about it, or not about it, but
The Handmaid's Tale, of course.
Just Mel Gibson. That's it.
The
No, you're
Grapes
good.
of
That's
Wrath?
yeah, we'll just stop there.
A Clockwork Orange, The Color Purple.
What? Wait. Get to the
Wow.
Yeah, The Color Purple was an excellent movie. I never read the
and
book.
the Giant Peach. James and the Giant
Why
Peach.
is it? James?
Maybe they thought it was like a giant ass going into the ass instead of going into the peach. It's like internet emojis changed
I'm
literature.
sitting here going, why James and the Giant Peach?
Of Mice and Men.
That's a
Black Beauty.
Peach is almost close to pink, and that's
The
sort of,
Adventure of Tom Sawyer. These are books that are being challenged right now by the and there's plenty more. And these are all books that are being challenged. They're classic.
Pretty
books.
much everything we grew up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, John. Like, I remember reading a good portion of those books in school, and we had to do reports on them, and we had to learn about them to talk about how media influences people and also how media can help people fight back against bad ideas. And I'm just like,
You went to a really progressive school. We did not learn things like that at my school.
I'm from New Hampshire, honey. I'm from New Hampshire.
That explains it. I'm from Texas.
It's so funny though.
Stephen King's Christine is being challenged. Stephen King's Christine about a killer car is being challenged.
There is sexuality, but there is sexuality in the book.
I mean, I wouldn't use the Stephen King. Like, I mean, it has like a sex scene with kids. I just don't. I wouldn't.
Don't read it.
I get that one.
I mean, you can read it, but you just gotta. There's a reason why that wasn't in the fucking movies, people. It's uncomfortable.
He's fucking weird, man.
My 14, 15-year-old brain didn't think anything about it. My 45-year-old brain is like, oh, that's that's weird, Stephen.
What's weird though to me is that like all these they like the religious people and conservatives always like go, oh man, these people just keep getting offended about everything. They just keep getting offended. We just gotta appease everybody, and they get offended. And then they're like, then they make a bill where they're like, if anybody's offended, they can take the book away. And they're like, no more books. Like we're just in Florida going, fuck all the books. I don't know. Like,
we're offended by everything. Yeah. Don't read anything. It might be offensive. Just stop at the beginning. Just don't even read.
Well, these are the same people that talk about having a small government, but then after that, they do an anti-abortion bill, to make sure government intrudes on your pregnancy, right?
Crazy. So on this topic, like you, as someone that is part of that community that's being attacked because I think it's stupid and dumb and terrible. Like, where do you see this going? Like, do you think this is going to continue for a while? Do you think people are going to, like, it's going to be like when everybody was attacking the gays and then eventually like tapered off and where everybody was like, well, gay people exist. Fine.
Yes, I think it is. Like we talked about earlier, it's one of those things where we've seen this pattern before. It's all of the same tropes. It's the same way of vilifying someone and, they're going to take our kids and our children are going to get, turned into whatever the fear of the week is. And yes, in that sense, I do think it is following a similar pattern. And I think also it is a little bit of kind of this dying last gasp of this sort of group of, I don't know, I don't want to say a generation of people, but this is people who are in many cases just really upset that the world doesn't look the way they want it to look according to traditional values, which heavy air quotes around traditional because those are invented traditions, but the values that, make people think of like a Norman Rockwell painting of, here we are sitting around, having Thanksgiving dinner with, mom, dad, 2.4 kids, and everyone's white and middle class and women are cooking in the kitchen and everyone's straight. And, this is a fantasy that never existed. And I think people are just, some of the people that are trying to make all these laws are just really upset that that's not real and no one wants it to be anymore. Or, most people don't want that anymore. And they're just trying to force it through anyway. Well, we will legislate that is how it will be. You will have babies and you will be straight. And, if you are not a white man, we will not see you in public. I don't think that's ultimately going to succeed. I think it's kind of pitiful. But I think a lot of people are going to be hurt in the meantime. So it's really detrimental to everyone that this is going on and it needs to come to a stop. And I think it will, but like how many people are going to get hurt or killed or attacked in the meantime is my concern.
Yeah. I think what bugs me is like locally we have like Christian lobbies coming into our school board trying to get books on LGBTQ plus inclusivity and then sex education and, resources that kids need at different age levels. Like when they're young, they need to know that, hey, there's a place for them in the world also. When they're older, they need to learn about the inner workings of how sex works for their affiliation, because it's not going to be the same as heterosexuals. And and they need to learn safety and all the other stuff. These are books that people need, but at the same time, they don't want, like I was saying earlier, is they don't want these children to be included in society. They think that they should be forced to be something that they shouldn't be. And so getting rid of the books and the literature is all part of forcing these people into the woodworks. And we can look in the past of like what happened to the gay and trans community in the past, whatever, when they were forced out of society. Well, they're not going to the best parts of society. They're getting pushed into the worst parts, and then all of a sudden it becomes a self-perpetuating stereotype. but they want that because it proves them right. But the reality is these people aren't behaving poorly because they're trans or gay or whatever. They're being treated poorly because everybody's treating them poorly, and they're not having a chance to prosper or succeed. So it's that's my beef with the whole thing. But,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's denying the resources to people that they need in the hopes that they'll just go away, and it's going to make their lives the worse for it. And this whole idea that, well, if we take away these books promoting these things, then those people just won't exist. People won't know that they can be trans. They won't know that they can be gay. Like, no, they will still be. They will just be worse off.
And that's the whole thing, is they at first, like, they thought, like, well, if, there's gay people get married and they adopt children, or they have surrogates or whatever, that, like, they're going to have kids and their kids are going to be gay. I'm like, where do you think all the gay people came from and that's relationships? Like, yeah. And they're like, well, they can't have kids. I'm like, we all know. We know how sex works.
We're aware.
We're aware. Thank you.
The reason that there is no dominatrix porn is because it's not taught in school, man. That's how that works.
That's the problem.
It also comes like an intentional sabotage. Also, like it's a like 10 years ago, a gay couple or whatever that I know, they were finally able to have kids. But all the church groups in the community, like, they're getting hate mail and personal attacks, people showing up at their work. And like, in reality, it's like, these are brand new parents. They got twins. It's a parenting is like difficult enough as it is. And then here you have all these people just trying to make their life a living hell. So it's a case where it's like, oh, look at them. Like, it's just like they want to say, look at them, they failed. But like, they were the reason they failed. Now at the end of the day, they didn't. They, like, the two girls are like, I think they're like 12 now, and the sweetest can be or whatever. But it's just frustrating because you'll see protesters and groups attack the LGBTQ+ community, and it's like a self-validating prophecy or whatever. It's like they're going to be horrible because we're making their life horrible, and it takes a lot of opportunity away. It's squeezing the kitten to prove that it bites. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I like that, Brandon. That is a great analogy, and it's a little bit frustrating because when you're like last weekend when I was at Free Flow, I was talking to the Satanic Temple of Sarasota, but one of the members is the lead of the mental health division at New College, and New College has a lot of fucking shit going on with the funding being removed, and the kids that are trans and non-binary are failing in their academics because they're so stressed out because Ron DeSantis decided to use that school as a talking point and funding issue for people because they're a liberal private institution. And this is just one microcosm of what happens when you start taking away people's rights and their ability to function. They think like, well, they can be trans and stuff on their own. And like, why do they have to like exist in society? Like, well, I don't care as long as I don't see it. And I'm like, that's the point. You're hitting the nail on the head, because as soon as you start othering people and they don't feel like they're accepted by the wider community, you're going to see things like mental health distress. You're going to see these kids not succeed, and they don't care. That's the thing, because if they cared, if they say like it's about the children, they want it. It would be like, okay, we're going to put resources in so people feel accepted and feel safe.
It's not about the children; it's about them being proven right.
We should just start doing that to Christians. Just say, "Oh, that's just a phase."
I can tell you, my oldest is almost 22 years old. Not a phase.
You'll figure out that Santa is, I mean, Jesus, whatever, isn't real. And then
my daughter's married to another woman, and they had their own child. My daughter-in-law got pregnant, and my mom is still, it's a phase. She'll get over it. I'm like, what?
They have a child.
No.
Kara,
The wishful thinking is intense.
Yeah.
Kara, you've been extremely kind with your time, and we really appreciate that. But in finishing, if people, to the layperson that's watching your interview and might not have somebody in their entourage, they can still be an ally. What would you recommend the layperson does to help the community?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a great question. And I know there are a lot of people that really are interested in doing that. I actually did a talk on this a while back, someplace else. But, some of the great things that people can do as allies is, as we talked about earlier, just go read up on it and educate yourself. You don't need to read, volumes and volumes about it. But, get a book, read an article, go to, something really simple like, GLAAD or, the Trevor Project, something like that. Learn about some of the struggles that people go through and just think on that. Just that by itself means a lot to understand what's going on. So when you meet someone who's trans or non-binary, you don't have to be like, oh my God, what do I do now? You can just fall in like normal and talk to them like, gasp, a normal human being. And that's step 2, is treat people like a normal human being. And
I can speak for myself with the years being in an evangelical church or whatever. It's like you're conditioned and programmed with so much anti-trans rhetoric. When you finally meet a trans person, you don't know how to react, and because you don't know how, you usually poison the well, which validates everything that the church has been telling you. After I left religion, and then I started trying to separate these old ideas. It's like you find out, oh, trans people are just like everybody else. It's like there's, it's like, oh, they dress differently, big deal. It's like, oh, their sexuality is different. Well, I'm not having a relationship with them, so big deal.
Right, exactly. None of this really affects you in any way. So just don't worry about it.
I don't know, Cara. I'm very concerned about other people's sex lives. All the time.
And I need to be involved in their decisions. Intimately involved.
Straight, gay, whatever it is.
I'm not a pervert, and I want the details.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Don't ask for weird details about people's body parts. Don't.
That's disgusting. That's always bothering me. I'm like, no one ever asked me about my genitals.
Right.
Ever. Like they don't go. So when I see that with trans people or non-binary people about their body parts, and I'm just like, you would not ask a cis presenting person the same question. So why do you think it's
you're
okay?
in Florida and they don't do that?
Well, I know, but I just find it gross. I'm like, why do you care? Like, why do you care what's going on between someone's legs, man? Just don't do that. It's gross.
You are not going to see it. This is not for you. You don't need to ever think about it again. Just don't be worried about it.
You really didn't need to think about it now, but
if there's one good thing, if there's one good thing about me being obese, nobody wants to think about me sexually.
I don't know. I can't help but think about Kara's genitals now. I gotta see now. Kara, thank you so much for your time here today on the show. Really appreciate that. If people want to find out more about what you do with your projects, where can they find you?
Oh, man. Okay. So you can find me sometimes on the interwebs at Recovering from Religion. As Helen mentioned, I do our weekly show called RFRX. So you can check us out there at recoveringfromreligion.org. I'm on the ACA, the Atheist Community of Austin. They have some shows that I go on every now and then. You can find me there. Every once in a while, you can find me on the Discord as well. And okay, I have to look up and see what my name is on there. Stand by. I'm really good at the social medias, as you can tell.
Listen, I can tell you, as someone that's on the Discord, that Cara isn't on there very much, but you can at least ping them. I mean,
do that. Yes, that is a good way.
The best way to do it is contact me, and then I will contact Cara for you.
That is the way to get in touch with me. Contact Helen, and then it will go that way. Or you can find me on Discord at Kara G, number 3646. Is that part of the handle that you use?
Why not?
Sure. Find me there. I'm there. If you send me a message, I'll get notified of it. Otherwise, I'm usually lost in there, like trying to click on things, going, "Is this the room?" But anyway, catch me on there.
Kara, thank you so much for being on the show. Before I let you go, of course, I got to have you say, hi, this is Kara G, and I took a left at the Valley.
Oh, hi, this is Kara, and I took a left at the Valley.
Fantastic.